Sorry about that, guys. Took me just a little bit of a minute to get myself situated. And of course, then I get on. I got all these problems. My hair is sticking up. Um, so I wanted to come on and do this live video because that's what I like to do. So thanks for supporting me. I appreciate you guys out there in the world giving me support. You can follow me online at jcherrypresents.com, although I'm revamping my website. Going to be taking it off of GoDaddy when my SSLR certificate, I didn't say R, I didn't mean R, but there's a certificate you use for your website. But there's other websites that I'm investigating with all of the censorship going on. But I'm going to take you over here, get my share screen on. I'm going to get started on some of this stuff that I wanted to talk to you guys about. And let me put the transparent screen is better. There we go. So this article I came across the other day, and I thought that was really interesting. So I'm going to get into the FEMA truck discussion, and I didn't want to do that right away. I wanted to start off with this article, so I'm going to pull this up for you. So this is a COVID-19 outbreak at Auburn Nursing Home infects 137 residents and kills 24. Here's what's really interesting about this. So this nursing home had no COVID deaths at all. I'm not 100% sure. Let me just find the paragraph in the article. They may not even have cases, but I could be wrong on that. Let me go find that part in the article. But here's the part that, so the outbreak at the Commons in St. Anthony in Auburn started on December 21st as a wave of post-Thanksgiving COVID-19 cases began hitting the country. So the interesting thing here is 47 employees tested positive. Since the outbreak began, 21 residents have died at the Commons and 3 in the hospital. 11 residents have died since Wednesday, she said. There have been no nursing home COVID deaths. That's what it was. No nursing home COVID deaths in, I'm not sure if I'm going to say this right, Cuyahoga County, until the first 3 deaths at the Commons were reported on December 29th. Now, here's where it gets really, really interesting. And I put the links to this in my show notes. And I'm sorry, I had to squeeze them into the description of the show, so I had them originally marked. I'm going to add a nicer version of my show notes into the comments, at least on Facebook, and I'll try to get to that on YouTube and Twitter as well. So there had been no nursing home deaths. Sorry, I didn't mean to blow that up on you. So the total blah, 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 I'm going to get over here where they talk about the vaccine. So where is this? There's a paragraph in here that goes on to talk about when the vaccine was initiated. So here's the beef of the article that I don't want to read the whole article to you guys. I just wanted to share these important aspects of this. Let me see if I could blow it up for you so you can see it as well. Okay. So the nursing home began vaccinating residents on December 22nd. The deaths happened on December 29th. So interestingly, they introduced the vaccine to this place where there had been no deaths in that nursing home at all, not even in that county. No COVID deaths reported in that county in New York at all until December 29th. The nursing home began vaccinating residents on December 22nd. So far, 193 residents, or 80%, and 113 employees, or less than half the staff, have been vaccinated. The nursing home plans to do more vaccines on January 12th. So I found that to be really quite interesting. I wanted to open up the show and start with this article. This is a nursing home in upstate New York who had deaths in their nursing home in late December. Now, the interesting thing about this is they started the vaccine program on December 22nd. They reported the deaths. The deaths were reported on December 29th. Here, I'm going to scroll back up to where it talks about that. So the outbreak in the Commons in Auburn, well, it started on the 21st, and then they vaccinated on the 22nd. And then by the 29th, there were 3 Commons reported December 29th. 3 other nursing homes had not reported any COVID deaths. So they had some deaths in the nursing home. Where is that part on that? The total COVID-19 death toll in the county has increased from 13 on December 21st to 44 as of Thursday. So I just thought it was really interesting that they initiated this vaccine program on December 22nd. So the outbreak occurred on December 21st, and then they initiated the vaccine program on December 22nd. And then by December 29th, they've had 44 deaths. So it's really kind of interesting. The total COVID-19 deaths, let me see if I can get that there so you guys can see it. The total COVID-19 death toll in the county has increased from 13 on December 21st to 44 as of Thursday. The nursing home deaths account for 54% of the county's COVID fatalities. Okay? So this is really interesting, and I just wanted to share this with you guys. I'm just like crazy, so upset. So yeah, so they are wanting to mandate this vaccine all over the place. It's a very crazy, scary time where they're wanting to mandate this vaccine, and mandatory vaccines don't give much hope. I agree with that. 100%. Sorry, I'm just adjusting. I'm having a lighting issue. I'm just going to turn it up a little bit here so it doesn't make my green screen look so wonky. Live. This is the exciting thing about live in real time. I think I got it all straight, and then as soon as I go live, something wacky happens. So the other part of this story that I want to get to, and I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but one of the things I want to connect is I want to talk about the trucks that I found on a Berlin Turnpike that I was calling FEMA trucks. They're not technically FEMA trucks. They are... Eversource apparently owns the space at 3333 Berlin Turnpike. So 3333 Berlin Turnpike are where these trucks are that I came across. I'm going to pull up a video so that you guys can see these trucks. And the reason why I'm talking about them again, and why I got so freaked out when I found these trucks in the first place, because lots of weird things are starting to happen, and this is all wrapped around keeping us safe for our own good, right? So for our own good, the government wants to, have, these measures, testing, tracing, vaccination to keep you safe, quarantining, right? New York State has a bill. I'm going to pull that bill up for you and show that bill to you guys. Has a bill right now in committee to quarantine people against their will. I also have another video of Michael Ryan from The Who that I'm going to share with you. So, but first I want to get into the shielding approach, and I'm going to pull up the video while I tell you about what the I'm curious, has anybody heard? I'm freezing up. Oh, thank you for letting me know that. Hopefully I'm not freezing now. I might have a bad internet connection. Let me see how wrong connection. Hopefully it doesn't. I don't lose you guys. Okay, hopefully I didn't lose you guys. It was coming off on the wrong network. Okay, I think I did that without losing the feed. So hopefully that's not freezing up now. I appreciate you guys letting me know that. Thank you so much. Has anybody heard of the shielding approach? Has anybody out there heard of that? Okay, it said I had a error. So hopefully you guys are still with me. Let me just see. It looks like we're still going. So I apologize, having some technical difficulties here. All right, that looks like I'm still going. Okay, I'm coming through. Okay, good. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. Have you guys heard of the shielding approach? You can't make this stuff up. Let me just get right into it. So I'm going to pull up this article for you. And this article is really kind of crazy. I'm going to just take you over to here. We'll start on this. We're on the CDC website right now that I want to share with you guys. The CDC, sorry, tongue twisted today. It's such an interesting website. I really think that everybody should just get on the CDC. This kind of tells you what it is that these guys are up to and what they're doing. So I'm leading you into the shielding approach, but I wanted to share with you, this is brand new. The CDC just posted this video today. It's short, so I was going to play like a segment of it. I was going to play the kind of the end of it. This is also in my show notes, but this is the introduction to mitigation, mobility, and epidemiology. Let's see if I can get that at graphing. Okay, it's just like, you guys, you can't make this stuff up. I'm trying to get it so you guys could see all that. No, I don't want to give you guys feedback right now. Let me see. Oh, I'm back on the shielding approach. It took me to I guess we're going to start talking from there. But anyway, the page that I was just on that I just lost that brought me automatically into the shielding approach was about the Google has tracking in your phone. You guys know this already. So Google has partnered up with the CDC to track us, okay? So one of the things that you guys should know about is that the CDC, they can and they do are tracking our movement and are using that to build these charts up. Sorry, I lost that page. It went to the shielding approach. I mean, I don't want to spend time trying to find it while we're live. So you can check out that link that I shared. It just goes into how they're making these new epidemiology graphs. And what they're going to do is it'll give them a picture of, you know, the dangers, right? Because what is all this? And what does this mean for your rights as a human being on this planet, in this country? And this is global, guys. So if you think this is just the United States, it's absolutely not. I think many of you guys know that. This is a global thing. It's called the Great Reset, or other words for it would be the Fourth Industrial Revolution. If you do not know about Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum, you need to educate yourself about that. I don't have show notes on that one today because I'm not going to get deep into Klaus Schwab, the World Economic Forum. But just real quick, Klaus Schwab and Bill Gates are buddies, and Klaus Schwab also helped to do Event 201, which I'm sure many of you are very familiar with. So let me take you over to here really quickly. Hold on a second. I'm going to take you right over here. So what is the shielding approach? I'm going to just close myself out for a second here. So the shielding approach, let me bring this up so you guys can see it. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble. So basically what this is this is a means to it's a quarantine situation. This is basically a quarantine situation that you guys will have to participate whether you like it or not. Sorry, I had a technical glitch there. So this is a this is from the CDC, which you guys can go and you can find. You can look at this yourself. I'm trying to get it so you guys can read it. Maybe I'll put my picture back here so you can see me. I'm still here with you guys. So so the shielding approach basically is they're going to put you into a facility. Now this could be at your home where you have a space where you have like a green zone, and then or they could put you in a community where it would be a group of houses and there would be like a tent outside, and they would put you, this community group that would be labeled the shielding zone or whatever the heck it is they call it, and they would put people there. You can't make this up. You guys can go and you can read this yourselves. These are the levels, okay? These are the different things. Let me see if I could blow this up so you guys could see it. So this is the shielding approach, okay? This is new from the CDC. This is what they're talking about implementing and doing on a worldwide level to different countries in the world. This is really creepy. And when I saw those trucks on the Berlin Turnpike, the shielding approach really came to my mind, and also the quarantine bill in New York State. So they talk about a group of shelters such as schools, community buildings within a camp sector. So they would have these sectors where you would be completely isolated from your family. You guys have to read through this entire document. It is insane what they want to do. Here, I got another one I want to share with you guys. Let me just pull over here. Now this is where they built this document, where they got it from, where the CDC got this document from. I also put the links into there. This is a Microsoft Word that it's in. I'm not sure who put it all together, but this is like basically what the CDC is basing this on. So it's actually, it's the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine came up with this document. So this is this is the household level. So you can see the household level is here. Let me make sure my cursor is there so you guys can see that. So here's the household level. Then they have the block or neighborhood level. Listen to how crazy this is. I'm not sure if you guys can read along with me there. Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit. See if you guys can see here. Let me try to blow this up a little bit so you guys could see here. I'm going to blow it up. I want to try to fit all three of them in there so that you can see. So you got your household level here. So a green zone, a specific area, a room or a shelter in case of a multi-shelter compound within the household. High-risk individuals are physically isolated from other household members. Other household members should not enter the green zone. So if you were put in this kind of containment, you would be completely isolated, completely alone by yourself, whatever specified period of time. Maybe it's 14 days. Maybe it's till you're testing positive. The language is a little bit complicated. So movement outside the green zone should be minimized. Showers, latrines, if needed, a short walk. Can you imagine, right? If needed, a short walk during quiet hours when children are sleeping, and social distancing measures should be applied during such movements. So you would be completely isolated by yourself, right? I'm going to show you who their high-risk individuals and who they're thinking of would be put into these positions, because you don't even necessarily have to be sick. You could just be in a high risk. You could just have an autoimmune disease like diabetes or, other things that put you into a higher risk zone. They have a list of this. You can get all this information through the link that I sent, but this stuff is on the CDC, including the link to the documents that they use to base this policy on, what they're going to be doing. So when I saw them trucks at the Berlin Turnpike, you better believe that my mind was going wild. Like, what are these? After learning about something like this. Now let's read this other one. This is the neighborhood. This is a neighborhood green zone. Okay. So this is just wild stuff here. So we have a green zone, a specific shelter group of shelters with a maximum of 5 to 10 households. This is if they decide that you are able to do it in your neighborhood. They're going to declare your neighborhood a shielding zone. You can't make this up. Like, this is real stuff. I wish this was like science fiction, because it feels like I'm reading science fiction right now. So a green zone, a specified shelter group of shelters with 5 to 10 households within a small camp area. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? So when I see 24 trucks on the Berlin Turnpike, I immediately think a camp. The trucks on the Berlin Turnpike, which are from a company that does this, they're SL Storm Company or something like that. So when you see that they have 24 trucks on the Berlin Turnpike, they have 20 trucks that are 30 beds apiece, right? They have 4 trucks. They have a shower, laundry, and a mobile, energy thing. This is on the Berlin Turnpike. So now I talked to people about those trucks on the Berlin Turnpike and was told they're Eversource trucks. They're most likely for a storm. One person who was a lineman said they stayed in trucks like that during the Hurricane Sandy in Long Island. And another person who had never stayed in these trucks said they were new. They haven't been at the property that Eversource owns, 333 on the Berlin Turnpike. So that's their address. They own that property, 333 on the Berlin Turnpike, which is where these trucks are. And I immediately think of this. This is what I think of. So this is a neighborhood. So let me just stick with the neighborhood here. I'm getting sidetracked with the trucks again. Movement outside the green zone should be minimized. Shower, latrines, and social distance measures should be applied during such movements. So you could see their chart, right? So this is where the people with COVID would be, and that's their zone, and you can't go in their zones. And they would have this specific people, just one person that would be taking care of you. This is crazy. Okay, so then this one's option 3. There's these different things that they want to do. They're planning this, because I'm going to take you guys over to the New York State bill in just a second after I'm done talking about this. So option 3, sector level. This really makes the Berlin Turnpike trucks. The Berlin Turnpike they're not FEMA trucks. They're base camp turnkey trucks, basically. That's their technical name because it's a base camp. They're turnkey. You put a key in, you turn it, you can get into these camps. So here's the Sector 3 level. Green zone is a specific group of shelters within a camp sector. Maximum 50 high-risk individuals per single green zone. That's quite a few. So those trucks house 30 people. I'm sure it would make a great facility to put green zones in, don't you? I mean, I'm gonna show you a video before I move on to this of the trucks in the on the Berlin Turnpike. Okay, so the high-risk individuals are physically isolated in green zones. A single physical entry point is established. A single visible entry point is established. Exchange of people, food, and other provisions are exclusively done through this point. A meeting area close to the entry point is established where green zone residents and visitors can interact. No movement outside the green zone. Did you guys hear that? So this is the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine that the Center for Disease Control is basing their shielding approach. I'm going to take you back over to the CDC here for a second so you can see. So let's just take a look. And I'll read to you briefly, and I'm sorry that you guys, I can't fit it all in my screen. I apologize about that. But the shielding approach aims to reduce the number of severe COVID cases by limiting contact between individuals at higher risk of developing severe disease. High risk in quotations and general population low risk. High risk individuals would be temporarily relocated to safe or green zones established at the household, neighborhood, camp sector, or community level. Depending on the context and setting, they would have minimal contact with family members and other low risk residents. This is the CDC, guys. This is what this is. It's called the shielding approach. Okay? How does this make you? Do you feel like this is for your own good? This is a good idea? I'm going to try and get that headline all the way in there. Okay? Intern operational considerations for implementing shielding approach to prevent COVID-19 infections in humanitarian settings. How about just leave people alone? How about just leave people in their houses? How about you just butt out of people's lives if they're not sick or asking for your help? Who decides? Who ultimately decides this? So let's just go take a look at the trucks that I saw on the Berlin Turnpike. So here's the trucks, guys. Just, and if you saw me talking about this video before, you remember. Hopefully that plays. But you see this. You see this right here. This is the trucks. So when I think about this shielding approach, I think about this particular situation here where you have, like, this is set up like a camp, okay? And the interesting thing about this is that it's set up like a camp, so you can see the trucks that have these things on them. That's like the sleeping trucks, okay? So you could tell, I'm sorry, that one's the kitchen. So there's a kitchen, there's 30 beds, so they got 30 beds, they've got shower, laundry. So they're all set up like this is set up like a camp. Now somebody said that Eversource might be using these for storms and they could just take them wherever they want to go and stage a setup. Now I've never seen trucks like this in the state of Connecticut. This is new, by the way. This has not been there for a long period of time. This just showed up not that long ago. I'm going to stop the video. Sorry about that. So these trucks just showed up not that long ago, honestly. They're new to the whole scene. So let me pull you back over to the screen thing. I'm going to bring you back over to Google. Hold on a second. Google Chrome. I know I hate to absolutely hate to use these guys, but like sometimes it's just like you got to do what you got to do. And anyway, so this is the CDC. This is a shielding approach. Now, I'm going to take you guys over to here. This is the New York State Assembly Bill A416, relates to the removal of case contacts and carriers. Let me see if I can blow this up so you guys can read along with me. Let me blow this up a little bit. So this is in committee right now in New York State. Assembly Bill A416 relates to the removal of cases, contacts, and carriers of communicable diseases who are potentially dangerous to the public health. What does that even mean? Potentially, who? Who would decide this? And this would go beyond COVID, guys, because I'm going to tell you something. The virus, this is the new war on terror. It's the war, it's the biosecurity state. It's not going away. There will always be a virus. There'll be a flu. There'll be another corona. They already have a new strain, okay? And I've got a Carrie Mullis video that I want to share with you, too, after we talk about this New York State bill. So we were just talking about the shielding approach for anyone who's just popped on. We're just talking about the shielding approach. On the Berlin Turnpike, there are these trucks. Originally it was calling them FEMA. They're not FEMA trucks. They're on Eversource's property. They could very well be rented out by Eversource. They could very well be for linemen to stay in. They're odd. I'm going to be keeping my eye on them and watching them and seeing if they disappear, seeing if they just stay there, if it grows, how it's used, if Connecticut drops a bill to quarantine people the way that New York is. Our legislature just went back into session. So a bill to quarantine like they have in New York could very well come up through our legislature here in Connecticut. So keep your eyes peeled. Okay, because that's there. It's new, never been there before, never seen trucks like that before. This is brand new on the Berlin Turnpike. So, back to the New York State bill, A416. Listen to this, guys. Absolutely terrifying. Listen to this. So it's in committee. You could see where the bill is. It's in committee. So it was introduced. So obviously it had enough steam to be in committee. So they're seriously considering this, okay? So there was a video the other day where some of the constituents in New York were, questioning Perry, and he wasn't liking that too much. That was a pretty wild video. I love New Yorkers. I'm a New Yorker. I was born and raised there. I love the fighting spirit of New Yorkers. I still have family in New York. God bless New York, guys. You got to fight hard. If you are in New York and you are watching this video and you don't know about this bill, now you know. You absolutely must call your local representatives and tell them that you do not support this quarantine bill. So let's just read some of this bill here. So relates to the removal of cases, contacts, and carriers of communicable diseases that are potentially dangerous to public health. Okay, this was just introduced. Oh, pre-filed. So I'm not sure what that means in New York State, which because that's January 6th. This bill's been out for a little while, so something happened. And I'm not sure what the pre-file means of where the bill is moving, but there's movement. There's something going on here, because last time I was on the site, that didn't say that. And so the January 6th was not that long ago, a couple days ago. So introduced by M. of A. Perry, read once and referred to the Committee on Health. An act to amend the public health law in relation to the removal of cases, contacts, and carriers of communicable diseases who are potentially dangerous to public health. Just the wording in that alone is disturbing. The people of the state of New York, represented in the Senate and Assembly, do enact as follows. Section 1, the public health law, is amended by adding a new section to read as follows. Listen to this. This is terrifying. Removal and detention of cases, contacts, and carriers who are or may be a danger to public health. Other orders. The provisions of this section shall be utilized in the event that the governor declares a state of health emergency due to an epidemic of any communicable disease. Any. This isn't because COVID-19 is the first one. There's going to be more. This is going to be the biosecurity state all across the globe. You guys need to get yourself educated with Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum. And why is the World Economic Forum involved with this virus? Well, it's Klaus Schwab that has put together the fourth industrial revolution. And guess what? He wrote a book called COVID-19, The Great Reset, talking about how COVID-19 is the perfect opportunity to usher in the fourth industrial revolution, where things are going to be sustainable and greener and better, and you'll own nothing, you'll be happy, you'll have no privacy. Your medical records will be public. You will have nothing. You will have no rights. You'll just be a slave in a system run by technocrats like Klaus Schwab. I'm not kidding. I should have put the World Economic Forum link in there, but you guys could easily find that online yourselves. So here we go. Let's just read a little bit more here. You guys can read this whole bill. It's in my show notes. Upon determining by clear and convincing evidence that the health of others is or may be endangered by a case, contact, or carrier, or suspected case, contact, or carrier of a contagious disease, that in the opinion of the governor, what? This is what we have a constitution for. This is what we have a constitution for. Why we have a Bill of Rights and why we have these inalienable rights to not be ruled by tyrants, guys. This is like absolute. I can't believe this is real. This should be like fake. I wish it were fake. This is real. Unbelievable. The opinion of the governor. So who deemed the governor to have the authority over your life, over your health care, over whether you get to be free or quarantined? Who's giving the governor this right? So let me pick up here. Okay, so the opinion of the governor, after consultation with the commissioner, may pose an imminent and significant threat to the public health, resulting in severe morbidity or high mortality. The governor or his or her delegee, including but not limited to the commissioner of the heads of the local health department, may order the removal and or detention of such person or of a group of such persons by issuing a single order identifying such persons either by name or by a reasonably specific description of the individual or group being detained. Such person or group of persons shall be detained in a medical facility or other appropriate facility or premise designated by the governor or his or her delegee, I think I'm saying that right, I'm sorry about that, and complying with subdivision 5 of this section. Let's keep going. A person or of a group of such person by issuing a single order, identifying such person either by name or by reasonably specific description or the individual's group being detained, such person or group or person shall be retained in medical. I just read that. I'm sorry. I'm rereading this here. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. Now there's some more lines. Let's check it out. I'm gonna click on that. Let's see. There's 167 more lines. Oh, what fun. Detained for such a period in such a manner as the department may direct in accordance with this section. Let me see if you guys can read that along with me. I'm gonna make sure that's blown up so you can see it. Blow it up a little bit more. Let's move it over here so you guys can read along. Okay. So, notwithstanding any inconsistent provision of this section, a confined case or a carrier who is detained pursuant to subdivision 2 of this section shall not continue to be detained after the department determines that such a person is no longer contagious. What does that mean? What? So we're talking about that such a person is no longer contagious. That's so terrifying. It's so open-ended. It has, what? Okay, a suspected case or suspected carrier who is detained pursuant to subdivision 2 of this section shall not continue to be detained after the department determines with the exercise of due diligence that such a person is not infected with or has not been exposed to such a disease, or if infected with or exposed such a disease no longer is or will become contagious. So, what do you think that they would do to determine that you're no longer going to become contagious? What step do you think they would do to make it so you're no longer contagious? Who determines whether you're contagious or what? What is this? This is a bill in New York State. A416. There's just activity on it. Unbelievable. A person is detained pursuant to subdivision 2 of this section as a contact of a confirmed case or a carrier shall not continue to be detained after the department determines that the person is not infected with the disease or that such contact no longer presents a potential danger to the health of others. So you don't even have to be sick. You don't even have to, you just are a contact of somebody who's perceived to be sick, and they can put you into a quarantine against your will, according to this new bill that there just is in committee in New York State. What is this? How is this okay? How is any human being on a planet, how do you explain how this is okay? Because I would really love to know how anyone could deem that this is okay. Okay. A person who is detained pursuant to subdivision 2 of this section as a contact of a suspected case shall not continue to be detained after the department determines that the exercise of due diligence that the suspected case was not infected with such a disease or was not contagious at the time that the contact was exposed to such individuals. So there's no due process here. You lose all your rights. You're taken away from your home, from your family. What if this is your teenager? What if this is your child? They just determined because the school has been labeled as, a place of an outbreak, and your child's perfectly healthy. You send that child to school one day, and the city of New York calls you up, or the state of New York says, well, we suspect that you're, little Johnny or little Janie, she's been in contact with, the school, and we're suspecting this. We're going to just lock all the teachers up and all the whole school up too. And and we'll let them out when we decide. Because this is basically what this bill is. You could read this bill for yourself. It's in my show notes. I'm not making this up. This isn't fake. This is very real. So yeah, when I'm driving on the Berlin Turnpike and I see these turnkey base camps, trucks just show up out of nowhere all of a sudden when all this kind of weirdness is going on, when I had just read about the shielding approach, CDC. Look it up if you're just tuning in now and you're like, what is she talking about, the shielding approach? Go look it up. Shielding approach, CDC. Right now I'm talking about a bill in the state of New York to forcibly quarantine you based on suspicion. Based on being connected to somebody they suspected. Not only could it be just a person that they suspect and the people that are near, but a whole group of people. And then the governor will determine by his own opinion. This is all written in the bill. I didn't write this. These aren't my words. I'm just reading them. Okay, let's keep on going. After the department determines with the exercise of due diligence, blah, blah, blah. I read that. Okay, so when they determine if you're, so after the department determines that the contact no longer presents a potential danger to the health of others, a person who is detained pursuant to subdivision 2 of this section shall, as is appropriate to the circumstances, have his or her medical conditions and needs assessed and addressed on a regular basis. By who? And what means? What if you don't want their protocol? What if you're perfectly healthy and they want to give you a vaccine? What if you're perfectly healthy and they want to give you treatment or take your blood or your bodily fluids and keep you locked up and do whatever medical procedures that they want to do to you because you have lost every right as a free, sovereign citizen of this country, of the state of New York? This is outrageous, and I cannot believe that any assemblyman would put this bill out to be even discussed. It should be immediately tanked. This bill should be immediately tanked. This is disgusting. This is freaking Nazi Germany. This is like the Weimar Republic. Unfreaking believable. Let's continue. I'm getting madder as I read it. I'm not going to swear, I promise, guys. I'm going to keep it really clean. I'm going to work on that. I know it's not appropriate to do that, so I'm not going to swear. I feel like swearing right now. This is unbelievable. Be detained in a manner that is consistent with recognized isolation and infection control principles in order to minimize the likelihood of transmission of infection to such person and to others. When a person or group is ordered to be detained, a person or group is ordered to be detained pursuant to subdivision 2 of this section for a period of not exceeding 3 business days. Such a person, oh, how nice. It's just going to be 3 business days. Huh. Sure it will. That's interesting. When a person or group is ordered to be detained pursuant to subdivision of 2 of this section for a period not exceeding 3 business days, such a person, member, or such group shall, upon request, be afforded an opportunity to be heard. So I guess after 3 days, they're not going to release you because they've already said that earlier in the bill. Then after 3 days, you could plead your case while you're already in custody. I mean, okay, such person or member of such group shall, upon request, be afforded an opportunity to be heard. Oh my God. So they're going to take you, put you in quarantine just based on suspicion by the opinion of the governor and the health department or whatever delegee he decides to put in your, maybe it's a local health department in your county or whatever. So they're going to take you, lock you up, and then you have 3 days where you could be heard. Oh, I believe we have a thing, an international thing after, the Nazis try to pull this crap. And that we had the Nuremberg trials, and then we had an international code of human rights and human health. The Nuremberg Code. There's another international treaty that our country has signed and many other countries signed, that every person has a right to say no, that you have a sovereign body, that you get to say no to medical procedures. This is sick. This is unbelievable. Let's keep going. If a person or group detained pursuant to subdivision 2 of this section needs to be detained beyond 3 business days, they shall be provided with an additional commissioner's order pursuant to subdivision 2 and 8 of this section. When a person or a group is ordered to be detained pursuant to subdivision 2 of this section for a period exceeding 3 business days, and such person or member of such group requests release, the governor or his or her delegee shall make an application for a court order authorizing such detention within 3 business days after such a request by the end of the first business day following such Saturday, Sunday, or legal holiday, which application shall include a request for an expedited hearing. What? Oh my God. Wow. I just can't. They can take a free citizen, lock them up, and then treat you like this, and then you have to fight for your freedom. Okay? So after such a request for release, detention shall not continue for more than 5 business days in the absence of a court order authorizing detention, notwithstanding the foregoing provisions. In no event shall any person be detained for more than 60 days without a court order. Okay, so they can hold you for 60 days without a court order, and then after that, well, anything goes, right? So let's just be clear about who this pertains to. Someone suspected of being sick or carrying a disease and being contagious. Anybody who is associated with this person who they suspect could be sick or being contagious, and any group. Just by, the process of like three degrees of separation, you can find yourself in a situation in New York being quarantined. Where are they putting all these people? That's my biggest question. That's what leads me to suspect things when I see on the Berlin Turnpike, even though that's Connecticut. We are in the region. We are in this regionalized area that they're trying. This is what they're going to do with the Fourth Industrial Revolution. With the Fourth Industrial Revolution. What it is, it's not going to be a president. It's going to be, you're going to be ruled by your region. And it's not going to be the United States Constitution anymore. They're going to kill that. That's what they're trying to do. Okay? So they're going to kill that, and we're going to be under the thumb of this billionaire predator class. That's ultimately what we're going to be under. And these governors will be like their henchmen and will do their bidding, and they're all going to wrap this around public health. I mean, that's what is this? If there's a better explanation out there and I'm being too harsh, please interject. So, the removal or detention of a person or group issued pursuant to the subdivision for review of the contained detention of a person or group, the governor or his or her delegee shall approve the particularized circumstances constituting the necessity of such detention by clear and convincing evidence, whatever the hell that is. A copy of any detention order of the governor or his or her delegee issued pursuant to subdivision 2 of this section shall be given to each detained individual. How nice of them. However, if the order applies to a group of individuals and it's impractical to provide individual copies, it may be posted in a conspicuous place in a detention premises. Oh my God. Any detention order of the commissioner issued pursuant to subdivision 2 of this section shall set forth the purpose of the detention, and the legal authority under which the order is issued, including the particular sections of this article or other law or regulation. A description of the circumstances and or behavior of the detained person or group constituting the basis for the issuance of the order. The less restrictive alternatives that were attempted and were unsuccessful, and or the less restrictive alternatives that were considered and rejected, and the reasons such alternatives were rejected. So based on suspicion, based on the opinion of the governor and his delegates, you could be put into a position, if this bill passes in New York, where you are being put away, and now you have to fight for your right to get out of this situation, and they can take you away from your home, from your family, and lock you up. And does this apply to children? It certainly doesn't say it does or doesn't. Now, does it? Maybe they'll take a whole family and stick them in a quarantine camp. I don't know, but that's what this is. This is what this bill is for. Okay. A notice advising the person or group being detained that they have a right to request release from detention, and including instructions on how such requests shall be made. That's wrong. You already have your Constitution and your Bill of Rights. This is illegal. But they want to destroy our fundamental principles, our Constitution and Bill of Rights, and say it's racist. The Constitution and Bill of Rights isn't racist. That's not racist. The Amistad, a ship of slaves that had mutiny on the ship that drove into the port of Connecticut, those human beings were freed with a court of law based on our Constitution. Do we have an imperfect past and some ugly scars on us? Yes, we absolutely do. We do. So do many countries in the world. We're not the only one, but we've come a long way since then. Can we do better? Yes, we can always do better with everything. But our Constitution and Bill of Rights is not racist. A notice advising the person or group being detained that I'm sorry, let me go back here. I'm getting a little lost here. A notice advising the person or group being detained that they may supply the addresses. Oh, here's where it gets really creepy, guys. And or telephone numbers of friends or relatives to receive notifications of the person's detention, and that the department shall, at the detained person's request, and to the extent of the feasible, provide notice to the reasonable number of such people that the person is being detained. So it's only a certain number of people that are actually going to be able to know that you're even detained in the first place. In addition, an order issued pursuant to subdivision 2 and 7 of this section requiring detention of a person or group for a period exceeding 3 business days shall advise the person or group of being detained, and that the detention shall not continue for more than 5 days after a request for release has been made in the absence of a court order authorizing such detention. Advise the person or group being detained that whether or not they request release from detention, the governor, his or her delegee, must obtain a court order authorizing detention within 60 days following the commencement of detention, and thereafter must further seek court review of the detention within 90 days of such court order, and within 90 days of each subsequent court review. God, this sounds like it's never ending. This sounds like it's never ending, that it isn't going to stop. You're just in there. So what's that saying? Those that don't know history are bound to repeat it. What does this sound like to you? What does this sound like to you? Let's continue on here. A person who is detained in a medical facility or other appropriate facility or premises shall not conduct himself or herself in a disorderly manner, and shall not leave or attempt to leave such facility or premises until he or she is discharged pursuant to this section. Where necessary and feasible under the circumstances, language interpreters and persons skilled in communicating with vision and hearing and impaired individuals shall be provided. Oh, how nice of them. The provision of this section shall not apply to the issuance of orders pursuant to 11.21 of the New York City Health Code, in addition to the removal or detention orders referred to in the subdivision 2 of this section, and without affecting or limiting any other authority that the Commission may otherwise have. The governor and his or her delegee may, in his or her discretion, issue and seek enforcement of any other orders that he or she determines are necessary are appropriate to prevent dissemination or transmission of a contagious disease or other illness that may pose a threat to the public health, including but not limited to orders requiring any person or persons who are not in the custody of the department to be excluded. That means no one can come see you. To remain isolated or quarantined at home or at a premises of such person's choice, oh, how nice of them, that it's acceptable to the department, but they have to accept it, under such conditions and for such a period as will prevent transmission of the contagious disease or other illnesses, to require the testing or medical examination of persons who may have been exposed or infected by a contagious disease or who may have been exposed to or contaminated with dangerous amounts of radioactive material or toxic chemicals. Oh, well, they're throwing that in there too, because what? Why not? I'm just going to throw you in here. We're going to do whatever medical practices we want. We're going to lock you up, keep you away from your family, and detain you for, well, till we're done. What does this make you think of? Do you think that this would be New York State in 2020? I sure as heck wouldn't. To require an individual and who has been exposed and infected by a contagious disease to complete an appropriate described course of treatment, preventive medication, vaccination, including directly observed therapy. So your right to privacy, boom, out the window. Your right to bodily autonomy, boom, out the window. You are a slave of the state of New York if this bill passes into law. I'm so upset. I'm like losing my mind. I'm probably making the audio go out of whack here. I apologize. This is just as, I don't apologize. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely horrific. Absolutely horrific. Okay, so including directly observed therapy to treat the disease and follow infection control provisions for the disease, or to require an individual who has been contaminated with dangerous amounts of radioactive material, toxic chemicals, such that said individual may present a danger to others, to undergo decontamination procedures deemed necessary by the department. It's interesting how they throw that in there. I find that really interesting, how they throw that in there. It's kind of weird, like toxic chemicals and nuclear. It's so weird. Such a person or persons shall upon request be afforded an opportunity to be heard, but the provisions of subdivision 2 through 11 of this section shall not otherwise apply. The provision of this section shall not be construed to permit or require the forcible administration of any medication without a prior court order. Oh, they're so nice. Oh my God, they're just so caring. This act shall take effect on the 13th day after it has become a law, effective immediately. The addition, amendment, or repeal of any rule or regulation necessary for the implementation of this act on its effective date are authorized to be made and completed before such date. That, like, I'm frazzled. I'm frazzled, I'm shocked, I'm disgusted. Let's take a look back over here, guys. I'm going to share this with you. Back over here, guys. Let's just take a look at these here again. Let's just take a look-see. Sorry about that. I'm just going to play it again for you. These are the trucks on the Berlin Turnpike. Sorry, I'm in the wrong page here. Just give me a second. And I might be losing that, unfortunately. Yeah, it's freezing up on me. I can see I'm freezing up. No. Am I freezing up? I am so totally freezing up. So I'm not going to be able to re-show you if you're... Oh, no, here I am. I'm able to show these to you. There they go. It's just taking a minute for them to load. This is New York. This is New York right now. Look at this. I mean, it's that's not what I wanted to show you, but it's just like, you know, the state that we're in these days. So I can't believe it. Oh, that's not quite what I wanted to show you. Here we go. There we go. These are the trucks. So these are the trucks. This is the trucks that I found on the Berlin Turnpike. So when you read that bill, and I had known about this bill before I saw these trucks, okay? So when I saw these trucks, is one of the reasons why I was really freaking out about it, because I had just learned that this bill is in committee in the state of New York, and it's extremely disturbing to see this. And to know that our very liberty, our right to bodily autonomy, our right to the freedom of movement, our right to be free in our persons, the right to pursuit of happiness, the right to pursuit of your own medical care, your own medical treatment. What are rewards of the state? Is that what it's come down to? You're no longer a human being. You're just property of the state that you live in. And we're talking specifically about New York State, where they can take you indefinitely and detain you for a virus. It sounds like the terrorism stuff. It sounds very similar to that, where they could just detain you, take you away, and keep you away from your family, and lock you up and say that you're a threat. Who determines such things? Who and by what determines these things? We are governed by the consent of the people. Our Constitution and Bill of Rights still stands for something. It should. I hope it does. This is terrifying. So I want to close out because I went a little bit longer than I thought. So I have some of those links in the notes that I didn't fully get to, but I wanted to play you this guy. This is Dr. Michael Ryan of the World Health Organization. If you don't know him, you should. He is the assistant director. Let me pull his mug up. He is assistant director of the WHO. I got a little video here. This is Michael Ryan. This is Michael Ryan. Listen to this, guys. This. They've been working on this. This ain't going away. Sorry, as I get this ready to play for you.
Most of the transmission that's actually happening in many countries now is happening in the household, at family level. In some senses, transmission has been taken off the streets and pushed back into family units. Now we need to go and look in families to find those people who may be sick and remove them and isolate them in a safe and dignified manner.
Yeah. Oops. Cancel that. Yeah. So that's great, right? And then this real quick here. Look, check out this headline. This is out of the New York Post. Well, look at this. Fauci says mandatory COVID-19 vaccine possible for school and travel. This was written on January 1st. Right? So Dr. Fauci said it's possible that COVID-19 vaccines will become mandatory in order to travel to other countries or attend school and go to a hospital, by the way, because that was elaborated on later on in a different article. But in the Post, they're not talking about that, at least not in this particular part. Everything will be on the table for discussion. Fauci, who will be chief medical advisor to President Joe Biden. Fauci will be chief medical advisor to President Joe Biden. Look, man, I'm one thing maybe I could say is maybe this is going to wake up. I don't understand. I used to be like hang out with people. I guess would have considered myself liberal. Okay. And I've been blacklisted by friends and treated poorly, and like people think I'm crazy, and that like, you know, what happened to me? What I'd like to say is, what happened to you? Nothing happened to me. What happened to you? How could you possibly support this insanity? Stop hating people and start freaking practicing what you preach, and start reading about the corporations that you railed against. Since when the hell did you ever get behind these corporatists? Since when? You're full of poo. That's what you are. Give me a break. You easily led to the division. We the people, united we stand, divided we fall. What happened to you? I'm talking to you, liberals. What happened to you? This is disgusting. So you're going to praise Joe Biden? Yeah! Well, you know what? The only saving grace that I personally have with this nightmare of a situation that we find ourselves in the United States right now, the only solace that I have is that they might finally wake up when this is knocking out their dang door. And they're sitting there saying, yeah, censorship, until it happens to them. I can't even believe it. My mind is blown. What happened to the liberal people that I marched against the war with? What happened to those people who stood up against these corporations and big pharma and bureaucratic politicians like Fauci and career politicians like Biden? What happened to you? You'll learn. because you're going to find out the hard way. And unfortunately, we all got to be taking on this boat ride with you. Okay. This is Carrie Mullis. And I got to go soon because my dogs, they're waiting for me to walk them and it's getting too dark and I'm taking a little bit longer. So I'm probably going to end at this video. Well, there's two things. This is a very short one. This is Carrie Mullis. He won a Nobel Peace Prize for inventing the PCR test. He died right before COVID. He died. How convenient that he's gone right now. Okay, he died. That's what they're using. So when you see all these cases, they're cases, COVID, cases, they're using his test. Okay, and then you know what they did? You notice there's no more flu? You know why? Because the CDC is labeling all of the cases that come in under PIC. You know what PIC stands for? PIC stands for pneumonia, influenza, and COVID. They're all put in one giant ball and counted as COVID under PIC. So here we go. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm freezing again, huh? I apologize, guys. I don't know why I'm freezing. I'm not seeing it on my end. Okay, let me see here. I'm gonna play this, and I gotta go because my dogs are gonna freak out on me. So here we go.
It wants to go to all the details and stuff, and listen. You know, these guys like Fauci get up there and start talking. You know, he doesn't know anything really about anything, and I'd say that to his face. Nothing. The man thinks you can take a blood sample and stick it in an electron microscope, and if it's got a virus in there, you'll know it. He doesn't understand electron microscopy, and he doesn't understand medicine. And he should not be in a position like he's in. Most of those guys up there on the top are just total administrative people, and they don't know anything about what's going on the bottom. You know, those guys have got an agenda, which is not what we would like them to have, being that we pay for them to take care of our health in some way. They've got a personal kind of agenda. They make up their own rules as they go. They change them when they want to, and they smugly, like Tony Fauci, does not mind going on television in front of the people that pay his salary and lie directly into the camera. You can't expect the sheep to really respect the best and the brightest. They don't know the difference, really. I mean, I like humans. Don't get me wrong, but basically, the vast majority of them do not possess the ability to judge who is and who isn't a really good scientist. I mean, that's a problem. That's a main problem, actually, with science, I'd say, in this century, because science is being judged by people. Funding is being done by people who don't understand it. Okay, who do we trust? Fauci? Fauci doesn't know enough. You know, if Fauci wants to get on television with somebody who knows a little bit about this stuff and debate him, he could easily do it because he's been asked. I mean, I've had a lot of people. President of the University of South Carolina asked Fauci if he'd come down there and debate me on the stage in front of the student body, because I wanted somebody who was from the other side to come down there and balance because I felt like, well, these guys can listen to me, but I need to have somebody else down here that's going to tell me the other side. But Fauci didn't want to do it. They've got an agenda.
So, yeah. So apparently I might be freezing, and I apologize. I'm working on getting my content to be on. I'm going to be on Gab. I'm actually investigating Gab to put more of my content on. I'm totally freezing up on Facebook. I'm not quite sure how I'm going on YouTube or Periscope at this point, but I do need to wrap it up anyway. I just want to share one last thing with you to totally wrap up what I've been talking about today. And that was Carrie Mullis, who is the inventor of the PCR test. And this last thing that I wanted to share with you guys is, I'm sorry about that. Let me just get over here. So the last thing I wanted to share with you guys is the WHO finally admits COVID-19 PCR test has a problem. Well, that was Carrie Mullis, and I had another video I wanted to share, but my dogs are terribly wanting to go for a walk, and it went a little bit longer than I had intended to. So there's extra notes in there. Feel free to check those links out. I'm going to say ta-ta for now. Yeah, we need to unite together as a people. And it's my hope that people are going to stop the divide and see the real problem, because by fighting with each other in this kind of, contrived division that the media is participating in, it's stopping us from seeing the real threat, the real predator. So when New York State has a bill like A 416 to put people in quarantine camps. This is very scary times. These are very, very scary times. And on that note, I'm going to finish up this live. So, be well, guys. It's a crazy world out there, and stay aware, question everything, and you have a right to say no to medical procedures. You have a human right to informed consent. You have a human right for that.